The Zalthorian War Council had never encountered anything quite like humanity. 7 cycles of careful observation had taught them that these peculiar bipeds were unpredictable, emotional, and dangerously resourceful. But Diana Chen, standing in the center of their command vessel with her hands allegedly bound, seemed like just another frightened prisoner. Commander Velcros clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. The human female before him was small, barely reaching the chest height of the average Zalthorian warrior. Her dark hair was pulled back in what their xenobiologists had identified as a ponytail, a curious human custom. She wore the tattered remains of a Terran Defense Force uniform, and her face bore the dirt and exhaustion of 3 days running through the jungles of Kepler 44-B. "You will surrender the coordinates to your colony's shield generators," Velcros demanded, his translator rendering his clicks and chirps into flat, emotionless English. "Your resistance is futile. Your companion has already been captured. We have one." Diana's eyes flicked to the corner of the chamber where Eli Rodriguez hung suspended in an energy field, unconscious but breathing. Her jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "I'll ask one more time," Velcros continued, circling her slowly. "Where are the shield generators?" Diana's response was quiet, almost contemplative. "You know what's funny about humans?" The commander stopped circling. Around the chamber, 12 Zalthorian warriors shifted uneasily. In their experience, humans who began speaking philosophically were planning something. "We have this thing," Diana continued, her voice steady despite the plasma rifles pointed at her, "where we keep our hair out of our face when we're working, when we're being professional, when we're following rules." Her bound hands moved slowly upward. Several warriors raised their weapons higher. "But when we take it down, ... Her fingers found the elastic band holding her ponytail. "Freeze!" Velcros barked, but Diana's hands were already moving. The hair tie slipped free, and her long dark hair cascaded down around her shoulders. It should have been meaningless as simple cosmetic change, but something in her posture shifted. Her shoulders rolled back, her head tilted slightly, and when her eyes met Velcros' compound gaze, he saw something that made his species' ancient survival instincts scream warnings. "When we take it down," Diana continued, her voice dropping to something predatory, "it means we're done playing nice." The bonds around her wrists, which had never actually been secured, merely held in place by her own compliance, fell away. "Impossible," Velcros whispered. "We scanned you. No weapons. No enhancements. You're just human," Diana finished. "Yeah, that's your first mistake." She moved. Zalthorians were fast. Their reaction time was 0.3 seconds faster than baseline humans, but Diana had spent 6 years training in the Terran Combat Corps, where they'd learned the hard way that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't speed or strength. It was the ability to override every screaming survival instinct their evolution had given them, and do the absolutely insane thing. Diana went low, sliding across the smooth deck as plasma fire scorched the air where her head had been a millisecond before. Her hand found the ankle of the nearest warrior, and she used every principle of leverage her instructors had beaten into her, pulling him off balance. As he fell, she was already rolling, catching his plasma rifle mid-fall. "Warning," the ship's AI announced in Zalthorian. "Human female has armed herself." 3 warriors rushed her simultaneously. Diana's first shot took out the overhead light directly above her, plunging that section of the chamber into darkness. Her next 2 shots weren't aimed to kill, she targeted the ceiling panels above the remaining lights. Sparks showered down as the chamber descended into chaos and flickering emergency lighting in the darkness. Diana was a ghost. She'd spent 3 days in those jungles, hunted by thermal sensors and motion trackers, learning to move in ways their technology couldn't predict. She'd studied their patterns, their tactics, their over-reliance on their equipment. Now she became what humans had always been before they reached for the stars. Apex predators who hunted in the dark. Velcros heard the sounds, the heavy thud of warriors hitting the deck, the crackle of plasma fire going wild, the chirps of confusion and pain. He activated his personal shields and raised his weapon, scanning desperately for thermal signatures. Then Diana's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. "You wanted to know about our shield generators. Here's a secret: we don't need shields when we have each other." A shape materialized behind him. Before Velcros could turn, something hard connected with his mandibles, a piece of broken equipment, wielded with shocking force. As he staggered, he caught a glimpse of her face in the emergency lighting. Her hair was wild around her shoulders now, her eyes blazing with something his species had no word for. Humans called it determination, or rage, or sometimes, simply, Tuesday. Diana moved past him toward Eli's containment field. dispatching the remaining guards with a combination of stolen technology and improvised weapons. When she reached the controls, her fingers flew across the unfamiliar interface. The xenobiologists had reported that humans were remarkably good at reverse engineering alien technologies, something about pattern recognition and adaptability. His eyes fluttered open. "Diana," he mumbled. "Your hair's down." "Yeah," she said, already moving toward the exit. Shit got real. Even barely conscious. Eli knew what that meant. "Should I be worried about you or them?" "Them," Diana confirmed, hefting him over her shoulder with a grunt. "Definitely them." Behind them, Velcross struggled to his feet, watching in disbelief as the human female carried her companion through the breach she'd created in their supposedly impenetrable command vessel. Every warrior in the chamber was down or stunned, and all it had taken was one unarmed human and a hair-tie dot. As the emergency alarms wailed, and reinforcements flooded the chamber, Velcross made a note for his report to the High Command. The note would eventually become famous across the Zalthorian Empire, studied by every military academy. Recommendation: when capturing humans, pay attention to their hair. If they start touching it, retreat immediately. This species uses grooming habits as threat displays. We do not yet understand the correlation, but the statistical evidence is undeniable. A human female loosening her hair tie has an 87% probability of imminent violence. A human male rolling up his sleeves, 93%. Both simultaneously, evacuate the sector. The Zalthorian invasion of Kepler-4 for 2b was called off 3 days later. The official reason cited was strategic reassessment. The real reason, whispered in their military channels, was simpler. They'd learned what humanity meant when they said someone was having a bad hair day. And the galaxy learned an important lesson. Never corner a human who's decided they're done keeping their hair out of their face.